Yo, what's going on guys, Femboy here, and in today's video I'm making a quick guide for the new players to Genshin to help them understand simply how artifacts work and the new additions that they have added recently in the game that I believe everyone should know. Artifacts make up a character's playstyle and makes a character complete with themselves. So I just wanted to make a quick guide to teach the newcomers to Genshin. To start off, an artifact is like armor to your character. And having a full set of this armor gives them a set bonus. Now you're probably thinking, how does one even claim these relics? And my answer to that is just by exploring and playing the game. As new players may experience in this game, fighting bosses around your map, and by learning to spend your resin, you can get some artifacts to drop. And I am a higher AR player, so I have fortunately unlocked 5-star artifacts for myself. But if you're a lower AR player, you should be only focusing on the blue and purple ones. But in my humble opinion, you don't even have to worry about those for real. Artifacts get serious when you unlock the 5-star artifacts at AR 45. As you're under AR 45, just putting on blue and 4-star artifacts will just get the job done. Well, that's how it was for me at least. Anyways, since I've explained how you get artifacts, I will now explain the most efficient ways on how I get artifacts and grind for them. I honestly recommend farming for artifacts after your AR 45. It's just the most smart way to do it. What I normally do is just head over to an artifact domain that I want to grind for. Or if you're a very experienced player, you can actually get artifacts from the new endgame, but I'm not too good at that. So if you're a casual or just, an everyday player, the best way to get artifacts in my opinion is just by farming a domain that you want to go for. All over the map, there's many different sets you can farm. And before you ask, well, Femboy, there's all these artifacts sets that are all over the map, and I don't know what to farm for, so how do I know which artifact is right for which character? They actually added it literally right here. So you click on any character you want to learn, you just come into the artifact screen, and it literally says right here, artifact recommendations. And what this shows is what everyone's using. It shows the usage rate, and then it shows the highest percent on top. So for example, my Skirk, 72.2% of people use the 4-piece of Finale of the Deep Galleries. And that's what I'm using too. And there's a few other options that the rare type of people are trying to be different, I guess. And if I look and read myself, I can tell that this set is pretty good. It makes sense. Cryo damage bonus 15. Like, of course, I want this for my cryo character. And now one thing I haven't explained, to each and every set of artifacts, there is a 2-piece and a 4-piece bonus. So let's say you just generally don't have a bunch of artifacts for a certain set. I could only have on 2 pieces of a set, and it would give me a bonus. It would give me an animal damage bonus by 15%. But if I add on 2 more pieces of the set, which I have on my Kazuha, I'll get the 2-piece and the 4-piece set, which increases swirl damage by 60%. So now I have 2 bonuses on from just one set. Doesn't that just sound lovely? So 99% of the time when you're building a character, you're going to want to aim for the 4-piece set. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes things can get a little spicy. And for example, for my Sitlali, I'm using a 2-piece set. And now you're thinking, what the hell does that mean? So what my very, very intelligent brain has done is I have 2 pieces of one set, and then I have a whole nother 2 pieces of another set. And now you guys are thinking, wow, Femboy, you're cooking here, man. This is one of one. I have never seen anything like this, and I hope that's the case. Another thing I must point out, on damn near all of my characters, I have an off piece. And what an off piece is well, a piece that is not connected to the 4-piece set. Now there's a few more things I want to point out and teach you guys. These beautiful domains aren't the only source you get artifacts from. If you go to a handy dandy crafting table, at the very top there's 3 pages of stuff. This first page is where you craft stuff as normal. The second page is where you craft you know, these things for your characters, for upgrades, and you know, some talent stuff. But on the third page, we have a whole bunch of artifact sets. So let's say, for an example, you have a bunch of artifacts, right? But you're not using them, and they're a bunch of garbage. If there's a certain set that you've been eyeing at for a long time, you could throw away a bunch of dookie artifacts that you don't like anymore, and get pieces of an artifact set that you do want. The thing about this method is that the substats on these pieces are completely random, just like the domains. So at the end of the day, you're gambling. But I use this method, and I've gotten a few decent pieces this way. Another thing that might have just startled your brain right there. If you listen closely, I said substats. And now you're thinking, what the hell are substats? So we went through the basics of understanding 2-piece and 4 pieces of a set. But the very, very most important thing of all is the actual roles or substats and main stats and a whole bunch of stats of an artifact. Allow me to explain. There are certain things that you must understand about each character you play, and you'll just instinctively learn over time. Is that, for example, if you're just so lucky enough to get a Raiden Shogun, just for an example, you probably want to make her your main damage dealer, right? Let's say you don't have a lot of characters or something, and you really love the Raiden Shogun, and you want her to be your main. I can't blame you. If you want to learn how to do big numbers with your DPSs, there's one thing you must understand: crit stats. As you can see from my Raiden Shogun that I use, for the 4-piece set I have, on each and every piece I have crit stats. And in this game there's only 2 types of crit stats: crit rate and crit damage. Crit rate means the higher the percentage, the higher chance you're gonna strike big numbers. And crit damage is just the higher the percentage, the more damage. So for my Raiden Shogun, I've grinded years for these pieces. But each of these pieces have crit substats to make my damage with my Raiden Shogun stronger. But the crit rate and crit damage isn't the only thing that's going to make your damage higher. Having a decent amount of attack for a character also improves damage. So in short, for main DPSs, try to aim for crit rate and crit damage substats. You can check your total by going to attributes up here and then checking details on a character. What I would recommend for a DPS is to have at least 60% or more crit rate, and having, well, honestly, it doesn't really matter. It just depends on the character. I'd say for the crit damage percentage total, I mean, if you want a DPS, I would range from anywhere from like 125 and up. But if you're like me, you know, you can get some insane rolls on your artifacts, which makes the grind fun and your character's more stronger. Now let's say you don't want to build a DPS character right now and you want to build a healer. For example, I can show you my Barbara. Now when it comes to healers, this game has made it very, very simple. All healers need, for real, is just HP. For my Barbara, she has all the HP in the world. And fun fact, for the circlet, which is the last piece of your artifacts over here, the little crown thing, there's a chance where you can have your main stat be a healing bonus, which makes my Barbara heal even more. Main stats, all they are is just the main stat up here. It literally means main stat. So you see this piece that I have at 0? Well, when I upgrade this to 20, each and every level I roll will improve my main stat up. So the main stat on this piece, for example, is Elemental Mastery. So my Elemental Mastery is going to keep going up every time I level it up. And every 4 levels, I gain a roll to a substat. So that's how your substats improve on your pieces. So here's my unupgraded Elemental Mastery crown that I have right here, compared to a fully upgraded one. You see, I have a 28 total main stat, but when I fully upgrade it, it goes all the way up to 187, while it improves my substats. So key thing to remember, to put this all in short, healers love HP, DPSs love crit damage and crit rate and attack, and each of these pieces have a title to them. The first one is called the flower, and if you forget it, it says right here, flower of life. Your second piece is your feather, also known as the plume. I just call it a feather because You know, these kind of look like feathers. And then the third piece is your sands. And then your fourth piece is known as the goblet. And the last and very least, your fifth piece is known as the circlet. Now the interesting part of the first two pieces is that every single time, 100% of the time, the main stat is going to be HP for the flower, which is the first one. And then for the feather, the second one, is going to be always attack. The last three are all random for the main stat. The main stat could be HP, it could be elemental mastery, it could be attack. The goblet can roll HP, it can even roll elemental bonus damage, and the circlet rolls HP, attack, crit rate, and crit damage. And I know all this information might feel overwhelming, which it is. I'm explaining it like shit, I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty much all the information I have for artifacts. Let's see, I'm just trying to think of some things I might have forgotten about. Energy recharge, if you don't know. Energy recharge is a stat on each and every character, and all it does is make your ult charge up faster. So the more energy recharge you have on a character, the more faster your ult is gonna come. So you know how there's a total of 4 characters on your team? Let's say you have a support character right next to your DPS character. If you have your support character with a lot of energy recharge and you use their E, for example, and then you switch to your main DPS, your main DPS is gonna get a bunch of energy too. So that's where supports come into play. So I'm gonna end this video up. All I can really say is that try your best to build your characters to your fullest potential, because that's like the most we can all do. And learning about artifacts in different sets, it just comes and goes. It's just gonna come to you naturally as you keep progressing through the game. Yes, it's all gonna sound really confusing now, but you'll get the hang of it fast. And if you guys have any questions about this video, let me know in the comments below if you need help on me explaining something even further, because I can try my best to do that as well. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video and thought it was helpful. See you guys.